Hey, what's up everybody? I'm up in Harlem. I just came from getting video at the gas station. What happened was somebody paid for parking. They had a quite nice car, black Chrysler 300. But unfortunately the guy who parked, he just left his car open. And some guy on a bicycle, you can see it in the video, he just came right along, swooped in, took what he wanted. But usually what I do is I provide video at that gas station on thumb drive for the people who park there. You know, if they have a problem, they show it to the insurance company, and in exchange I get free parking. I used to get free parking for my bike and my car, but I don't even park my bike there anymore because at night people climb the fence and try to steal it. I have to like pin the KLR up against the fence to keep it safe, and it's just it got a little bit ridiculous. So I just stopped parking there, because when I went to Florida on this last trip to work on the KLR, I left the Honda there, and 3 hours into me leaving, I was in Maryland, and two guys climbed the fence, and they were trying to pull the bike away from the fence. It was locked pretty good, but even so, I knew they'd be back, so I was talking to the guy that they all know me at the gas station, you know, all the guys in the booth. But the guy I told him, can you go outside? And he was like, no man, I'm really sorry, dude. He goes, I can't leave the booth like that. It's too vulnerable for me, you know, which I don't blame. I said, I know, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to even ask you. But, you know, I said, that's my Honda, man. And he said, yeah, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll have somebody, you know, the police come right away. So they did come right away, actually. He called 911 and they came right away, and those guys scooted out of there. So it was good in respect to the fact that my Honda was not taken, but then I had to drive back up, and it was actually a horrible night, you know. Not a fun night at all. Driving back up to New York, you know, arriving at 4 in the morning, and then, you know, I had to put the KLR down off the car in New Jersey, and then I had to go pick up the Honda in Harlem, bring it to Jersey, and then at that point in time I was so tired I just ended up going back home and go to sleep. Yeah, I just went to sleep for a couple hours, and that was that, you know. And then the next day I woke up, got ready, and left again. But the whole thing was just what you would call a complete nightmare, you know. So anyway, get back to my point, I don't park there anymore. It was nice, it was fun while it lasted, you know, being able to keep a bike and a car there. It was cool. I mean, I used to work on my bike, and you know, what was really convenient about it was, if I had a problem with a bike, I could just scoot up to Harlem. Like when I was coming back and it was really cold, and last winter when winter just started to hit, and I was on the XR, and I was coming back from that customer in Merrick Avenue in Queens, and I got a flat tire on the XR. And what was nice was I just hobbled my way up to Harlem and grabbed the KLR, you know, because that's what you can do. Like if you have a bike in the city, two bikes in the city, it gives you that convenience. But you know, that convenience is not worth losing a bike. So I just gave it up. My car, I have a really old car. I mean, So I park for free there. I don't worry about it. I keep some shit in there, but nothing crazy, you know. And it's under in a toolbox locked away, but you know, it's nothing. It's just junk tools, but you know. But basically, I mean, you're probably gonna laugh when you hear. I have a 2001 V6, you know, 6-cylinder Ford Escape XLT. It's painted army green, you know, so they can just beat it. It's just a beater, you know, but it's got 200,000 miles on it. It runs fine. I mean, the timing chain is good, you know, but I wouldn't. I would say that car is not going to last forever, but with what's going on with cars right now, I wouldn't even want to deal with buying a new car that I'm just going to sit up in Harlem and get people attacking it, you know, because basically that's what happens. People climb the fence. Every so often they climb the fence and they fuck with cars there, you know, like my neighbor, when I used to live up in Harlem, my neighbors all lived there. He's got a brand new Ford truck there. And they broke into it twice. I had to give him the video for it. And his brother's car got broken into. So it is what it is, you know what I mean? But knock on bone, nobody touches my Ford because it's an old Ford Escape. Like, why would you break into something like that? But at the start of the pandemic, someone did climb the fence and smash the glass, and they took my radio, which I was totally fucking, I was just like, what the fuck, man? They didn't even go into the tools. They didn't even try to open the toolbox in the back. But they took the radio, which was really funny because, I mean, it's a $70 radio. Like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, that was right at the start of the pandemic. It makes you wonder though, like, what? How much did the guy sell that for? Because, like, what, $2? Like, I mean, I don't think you could even get $5 for that. Like, I think you probably could get like a drink, like maybe a Gatorade. Someone would be like, all right, they just came out from the, maybe if you didn't. I mean, I don't even know if someone even would give you a Gatorade for that, because the way he ripped it out, like the wires were just all torn. Like, he didn't carefully unplug it. Like, he tore it out of the dash like an animal, and the radio couldn't have looked very good when he got. And now what I do is just pop. I put the same radio back in. It was like a JVC, and it has the face plate that pops off, and I just take that off and lock it away. But it was like hilarious, you know, because even the owner of the gas station, I told him, like, dude, somebody smashed my glass and took a JVC $70 radio that I bought on eBay. And he was like, oh my god. You know, nobody keeps anything in their cars, but, you know, they smashed the glass with the idea of maybe there might be something in there. So yeah, that was pretty much an eye-opener. Approaching the 59th Street Bridge here. There's always a jam up here. They used to have a hump here, they got rid of it. Not sure why, but it was a big ass hump for buses only. I guess they get tired of buses getting stuck on it, because I saw a couple of buses having trouble. Because sometimes somebody would be actually sitting in that lane and not move. Bus driver would be honking and freaking out, but they wouldn't move. But, you know, getting back to the Harlem thing, it was really nice having a bike up there. And now my KLR's all the way in Jersey. Like I have a couple of things I gotta finish on it, but I gotta go all the way to Jersey to do it. That's what I mean, I gotta plan it all out. And winter's coming, and, you know, as it gets colder, I just hope I don't have like a really cold snap that comes in on us, because to be honest, the XR is basically unbearable when it gets cold. It's like you're just riding a mountain bike, you know, in the cold. You need pants. You got to gear up when you ride this thing. Yeah, when you ride this bike in the real cold, you gotta gear up. Because your legs will freeze, you know, like your kneecaps and stuff. So I gear up pretty well when I ride this. And I have rid this deep into winter, but I don't like it, you know. The only time I had to ride this deep in the winter was when something went wrong with the KLR. Like, I started to have some carburetor issues, but I rebuilt that carburetor now when I was down in Florida. And actually, I should have looked further into it, because when I was rebuilding it, I changed the float needle, but the bracket that the float needle sits on was slightly bent, and I should have just replaced everything on that fucking thing, because that was what was giving me a problem all along, was, you know, making the carburetor. The carburetor was flooding on me. Not flooding, it was just spitting out fucking gas, you know, because it was the carburetor was the float ball was fucked up. The floats were fine. It was the little metal pin that the float needle sits on was slightly bent, and it was such a slight bend that sometimes the bike would be fine, and then other times it would just be pouring gas out of the vent pipe, and I'd come out like from, and it's pouring gas out. So I finally got to the bottom of it, and then when I was fucking with the carburetor, I janked up my throttle cable, so I need to change that. I ordered one, but I got to go back out to Jersey to work on it. So I'm tempted to bring a bike back into the city, but not this bike. This bike's got to go out of the city, because you know, I might wait till it gets really cold though, and I'll bring it back in. But you know, this bike actually is too sought after. You know, people will just steal this shit, and I gotta wait till it gets a little colder. Once it gets a little bit colder, I can safely park this bike up in Harlem and not worry about it. But I'm not going to park this bike up in Harlem now. I mean, that would be insanity. Total insanity. I mean, with the weather still warm, there'll be guys climbing the fence every fucking night trying to take this thing. And eventually they're gonna have the skill set to do it. I mean, luckily, by the grace of God, the two dudes that climbed the fence, they were on dirt bikes. So they didn't have a lot of tools with them. And they did not have a van. So they would need to cut the disc brake, cut the locks, totally get the motorcycle free rolling so they could get it out of there, because that's the only way that guys on motorcycles steal motorcycles. They gotta roll the bike, you know. So that's why you always want to lock your motorcycle to a stationary object, you know, and everybody knows this shit, but you know, you always get a little bit lackadaisical, and one night you just say, okay, you know what, let me just take a chance, let me just lock it up. Sometimes you get a little lazy one night, and you're like, oh, you know, I'll just lock this up, you know, I'm just gonna lock this up to the small little tree or whatever it is, you know, and you just don't know the night they're coming around. And if they are coming around with bags, they're gonna do a lot of shit really quick to get your bike. Like I said, you know, when I've seen guys on camera trying to take this bike, I was horrified. Like when those two dudes came, they look like Dominicans. They came and they removed the axle bolt and lifted the bike up and took the axle, carefully took the axle bolt out without moving the bike too much and set off the GPS. So they knew there was GPS on the bike from a previous attempt trying to take it. And then they carefully took the bolts, put them all back together again, you know, the chain, tensioner, tab, everything, took it all off nice and neatly, put it in a bag that they had. And then they went to the van, put it in the van, came back, lifted the bike up. That's what set off the GPS alarm, with that little bit of lift that they lifted, because they were trying to lift the back wheel. Their mistake was they did not take the rear brake apart to try to free up that wheel. You know, they should have done that, because then they would have been able to remove the wheel without lifting the bike up. Or they would have already had the wheel out. So yeah, the back wheel was locked around a signpost, so there was nothing they could do, and it was too loud for them to cut that. So, and it was too early too. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. So they figured, okay, let's take the back wheel off the bike. They had a van, by the way. You can see it all on the camera. There was a van. They were ready to take the bike. But anyway, they lifted that bike. That ever so little bit of lift set off the GPS alarm, and then I was on the way down the stairs, and they were super pissed. They were like, puta, fucking, they were fucking calling me puta. What about you? Fucking, you're fucking taking my back wheel apart. They stole my fucking axle bolt. So yeah, that was that, but it sucked, totally sucked. And what they would have done was, very carefully, they would have come back for the wheel. Like, either, you know, the main objective was the XR. But I was actually horrified and amazed that they would go through that kind of trouble to steal an XR. But they did, so it is what it is. Yeah, here's where I'm going, right here. Alright, let me just park right here. Alright, everybody. See you on the next one.